Hey gang, so today we're looking at something sent to us by GEEONE. It's the Artillery by MUYI in polished Zerk. It's currently listed on GEEONE for $2.19, and if you use the code FidgetFix, you get 10% off. Okay, so this is another step in the brutal fidget category. At least I call it a brutal fidget. This is very satisfying, very cool, very tough, and just kind of perfect. You gotta be in a certain mood to enjoy fidgets like this. But it scratches a certain itch, I gotta say. Yeah, this one's a lot of fun. This is gonna take a little bit to open up because there are a ton of little magnets in here, so opening this up is gonna be a delicate procedure. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get this right under the camera and have a look. It's the Artillery by MUYI. Let's go. Okay, here we go with the Artillery. Now this, as I said in the intro, this is another entry into kind of the brutal fidget category. And again, one, just because of its name, Artillery, obviously, and just the kind of the violent strength of the snap. This is a punch. It's not a slide, it's not a snap. This is like an assault. And mixed with the ping that comes with it, the little tuning fork. I mean, this thing breaks the sound barrier too. So let's get into it. There's a lot to take apart actually, and there's two modes. There's kind of a hidden mode that you don't see when first looking at it. So let's get right into it. Okay, playability. Well, we have, this is the thing. This is a weird one because we have two versions or two styles of play with this. Well, three actually. We have the punch out, and then we have the in. There's kind of this middle ground, which is just sort of, and there is another play mode. There is a hidden secret play mode that I am going to demonstrate once we get to the internals, because I can't do it until I open it up. Okay, sound. Well, as I said a moment ago, the sound on this basically breaks the sound barrier. This is a huge crashing sound when it releases, and there's a tuning fork in the barrel here. So you get, this is not something you want to use if you want to keep friends around or family around or anybody else in the room with you, because this thing is damn loud. This, to me, this is a solo fidget. I only use this when I'm, when no one else is around, for good reason. It's annoying to anybody who doesn't like fidgets, right? Now, the other noise you get is inside the barrel. There are magnets on each side that when the barrel pushes down, there's kind of this inverse polarity thing happening. And so it makes these magnets along the ridges move. And it gives you this really kind of cool little ratchet sound. I'm just moving it closer to the mic. And so we can see in here, if we look closely, when the barrel closes, these magnets kind of engage. And there's this little ripple that runs through it. And that's the noise. That's these magnets just kind of responding. Okay, haptics. Well, I mean, massive, right? This thing is just a huge smash right through the hand. You feel it. I feel it vibrating all the way down the palm of my hand into my wrist, actually. And the little kind of magnet, the little ratchety magnet feel is nice. It's subtle, and it's a soft little click that you can feel at the same time. So that's kind of it. But really, the star is this big kind of piston that just fires out. Huge, huge haptics on this one. Okay, ergos. Well, that's the one thing where this could benefit. It's kind of an awkward position. That's the only thing I'm going to say about it. Shape-wise, it's great. I love cylinder fidgets. Really nice, round. There's no sharp corners on this at all. It feels really, really good. Great weight to it, so it feels nice to hold. The problem is to fire it or to just kind of get it going, the button is all the way down at the bottom. And so what that does is it forces your thumb to go all the way down here. And if you use it too much, you can start to get a little bit of like carpal tunnel on here because you're always reaching down. If there was an extension here, so something to hold on to, it doesn't even have to be a bead, just something to extend the grip so that the button was a little more centered. Like my thumb wants to go here all the time. It doesn't want to go down here. It wants to come up here. If this middle part was somehow the release, that would be perfect ergonomically. It's not though, it's down here. In fact, this is the stopper. This prevents the post. This is the only thing that prevents this post from flying forward, is that. So yeah, we absolutely need that. But if there was just some way to get this going without having to reach here, that would be great. Or an extension. If there was an extender on here, doesn't even have to do anything, just an extra grip. That would really, really help. Okay, weight. Let's start in grams. Got 117 grams and 4 ounces. This is pretty heavy for its size. It's kind of like if you picked up a bar of gold that is not big, but has a lot of weight behind it. That's what, I mean, not that I've ever picked up a bar of gold, but you know what I mean? Like there's a density to it. There's a weight in here for such a small little item. It's kind of surprising. And let's look at our measurements. We're zeroed out here. So in millimeters, we have 58.5, we'll call it, 58.5 long. And then just the sort of the radius of it, radius, circumference, overall width, 23.5 millimeters. And actually, you know what? Let's do that in inches. So in inches, 2.3. And then the width is 0.9, almost 1. Okay, internals. Well, let's see what we get. There are all the accessories. Now in here we have magnets. We have some replacement magnets that go inside the cylinder, and then we have some replacement magnets here on the sides. And we do have an extension post. As I mentioned earlier, it'd be great to have it. Now, the issue is I have the post, but I don't have anything to put around the post, but just it's nice to know that if I do get a bead or something that fits in here, you know, I can just attach the post and there I go. So I guess this is for like the shaker beads and stuff they have on there. And then we have some screws and a spring. So some screws we've got for these little side plates, these little kind of accents. And then we also have screws for the stopper. So you can see here different lengths. And then we have a spring. This spring's only job is to push this button up and down. So we'll look at that in a minute because it's kind of interesting the way this comes together. And then we have, we'll just use the screwdriver that they supplied. I think, will we? Yeah, I don't know. It's not very good. Let's just go with, this is something new I actually got just off of Amazon. Of just the brand name is Hoto or Hoto, H-O-T-O. What I do like about it is it's got all the basic bits in here and they're just kind of magnetically held on. So it's kind of nice. I just sort of go with the usual. I've even put a little bit of green ink on the T8, T6 because it's also reversible. So I just find it super handy. And this is T6. Okay, so what we are going to do is take this apart. So let's start by locking it in. And that's important because when we release this, nothing is preventing it from flying out of the barrel. Okay, so we have our little stopper here. Just gonna put that to the side. So inside, now if I'm gonna hit the release button, but I am absolutely keeping my finger over the top because this can just fly forward. Now, inside here, we have a big spring, right? Just a spring and a post and magnets. And we have a magnet on each side. Now, these magnets, oops, it's in the wrong spot already. There we go. So these magnets are loaded in a very specific way. And that's because there are two versions of this post, or two ways to use it. There's a lip. When this was originally in, this little ledge, okay, goes down this way. It pushes downwards because we have a spring in here. And I'm going to see if we can, I'm not sure. Yeah, we can see this. So what happens is when we push it down, we have this button, and we'll take it out in a minute. But all this button does is it releases, right? Like this little ledge catches on the button and it holds it in place so that when we push it down, it shoots back out. Now, if we turn it over to the other side, there's no ledge. Okay, so this is the side, remember. And this is, I'm going to say this a couple times. When you put this back together, you want the lip or the ledge to be opposite the button because the catch is on this side. Like there's a little edge here. So when we push the button, it moves the catch outwards and then releases the ledge. If we turn it the other way, there's no catch for it. Nothing will grab onto it. However, if I were to just put it in this way, the problem is the magnets are now out of position. And as you see, if I put this in like this, the magnet is not going to interact with the side magnets. So what we have to do first is we'll just get a little screwdriver, and I'm going to move the magnets down to the second row where they need to be. I'm going to put the spring back in. Okay. All right. So now I'm reloading this. You can hear the magnets are engaging again here. And I'm going to screw this back in. Now the difference is I have to hold it in place now. Because remember, we moved it onto the side that doesn't have that little ledge. So there is nothing preventing this from flying out until I screw it all together. But now we have the other playability version or form, I guess, which is just more of a plunger. So it kind of does the same thing. The only difference is the button doesn't catch anything at the bottom. So you have this really sort of fun, actually really satisfying. I can only think of the word plunger. That's all that comes to mind right now. And you can still get that crack by just letting it go. So it does the same thing, but the release isn't happening. It doesn't lock in place and then gets released by the button. Instead, it's just this infinite push, which I actually prefer, but I don't like that it's open like this, that sticks out. That's the only thing. But I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Okay, so let's take this apart. Let's take the rest of this apart and I'll show you what the rest of this does. So remember, we want to hold it down from the top. Take our little stopper out and then carefully release it. We have our spring. I'm going to move the magnets back into the first position because I'm going to need them there. Well, actually, I don't even need the magnets at all. Here's the other thing. You don't even have to have the magnets. You just won't get this interaction off the side. But if you just want that clicking feeling, like when it locks into place and shoots forward, you don't need that. Okay, so ledge is here. It's going to face downwards, and the magnets have to be close to the side that is pointing down. I know that gets a little complicated, but also here, you can load in more magnets if you want and change it, but it's really, really tough to prevent them from flying out. This is not a very deep hole, and this is not magnetic inside. So there's nothing holding these magnets in place other than, you know, if you put the spring in, you get it, like they're attracted a little bit to the spring, but it is really tricky keeping them in place. I found it pretty frustrating, to be honest. So I stuck with one. Okay, so let's get this out. Now, here's the thing. With these plates, all you have to do, same thing, you can just, you can take the plates off and it's fine. These things come out. But all that's doing is exposing the magnets, and there's literally no benefit to me doing that. Like, you're just gonna, these plates come off. This comes off. You can take magnets out. You can swap them if you want. You can, you know, reverse the polarity, mess around with it. But it's a mess because, again, these are so shallow that these magnets want to keep jumping towards each other. So it's honestly not worth me taking apart. It's enough that I'm just explaining it. Okay, I'm going to go with a bigger screwdriver, a bigger flat for here. That's one thing you don't get. So I'm going to go back to the old faithful kit that a lot of us have. All right, now, when we take this post out, there is another spring in here. Remember that I showed you that spare conical spring because there's one in here. So you have to be careful when you are removing this. So here we go. We're just going to... Now, as I'm unscrewing this, I'm keeping my finger down on the button here. And then I'm going to let it go by controlling it. So here's the post. And here is the little release. And the spring, of course, is getting stuck from all these magnets inside. Okay, so what happens here? Well, this post just goes inside like this. And don't forget, we do have this little washer here. Okay, so once this post is in, this just goes right down into the middle. And we've got our button. And we have our little conical spring. There's actually a hole for it. And then inside, so we can see a little indentation in there. And that's when the button closes. And that's it. And the spring just forces the button out. And so what'll happen is when this post pushes down. Let's see if I can do this sideways for you. See, there's this little edge here, this little lip. That catches this lip. So when it gets pushed down, it sits like this. And it locks it into place. And when you push in the button, it releases it, it moves it. Here, let's see. It moves it just enough that it releases this lip and then it can go shooting forward. That's all that is. So the button, and that's why there's a spring on this end of the button because it lets you kind of like push it inwards. So you push, it releases, and that's it. Flies out. And then flies out of my hand. So that's it. That's all the components together. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's built really nicely. So now we're going to put it back together. So we're going to take our washer, put it on. We take our spring and we want to line up. Now there are two sort of edges in here, two little slots, and that's for each side of this little ring here. So you do have to line it up properly. And then once you have that, you have to push it down. Now this can take a couple tries because that spring wants to like move all the time. So don't give up. Just take your time, try it again. This is the tricky part though. You start having to do these things very, very awkwardly. Because I'm holding the button down with my thumb to make sure it doesn't fly out of place. And I'm still trying to screw in, and now I'm doing it with I'm right-handed, but I'm using my left hand with the screwdriver. Okay, but so that works, that's in, that's together. Perfect. Now we just load up the spring. And I'm going to make sure that, in this case, I'm going to go back to the button configuration, like the button lock. So I want to make sure that I have this ledge here. I know where the ledge is. And I'm going to put the magnets on the bottom track on each side, because that lines up with my outer magnets. And I'm just going to do this and slide it on. And because I've put it on the button section and it just locked in place, so I know I have that right, I don't even have to hold on to it anymore. That's it. Now you can take this plate off. The issue is it's glued on there. So what they kind of recommend, MUYI recommends, is you soak it. Okay, gang, final thoughts. I mean, this is a lot of fun. This is something super random that you can just pick up and flick around. I am not a fan of these tuning fork sliders though. That ping really, really starts to hurt my ears after a while. So, you know, that's one thing that, and it's such a strong snap that the tuning fork gets really loud. So you have to like tuning forks to use this. I mean, the only way to avoid that is you could go in, I guess, and cut out, because the tuning sound comes from these two little forks in here. So you could just snip those off, I guess, and then it wouldn't make the ding sound anymore. But that's kind of drastic to do that. But that's kind of it. I guess that's really the only way to do that. It'd be nice if they came out with a version that didn't have that, like just a different barrel you could swap out that didn't have the tuning fork in it. That'd actually be kind of cool. Okay, gang, thanks for watching.